Today's Midah is B'Mishnah, which means by oral Torah. And Shaul, what is it about the oral Torah that we're talking about ways to wisdom, ways to acquire the wisdom of the Torah, right? And what does it mean as the Torah itself as a way to acquire wisdom? What is it Mishnah? What does oral tradition itself have to do with acquiring wisdom of the Torah itself?
Yeah, so when we say wisdom, I don't want to get too into this, but I mentioned it in the introduction. To me, Torah means wisdom, the broad sense of wisdom, the wisdom of life, and Torah itself is a pathway to that. But there is a greater sense of what wisdom is. But in terms specifically over here, we say the oral tradition, and whilst over here the rabbis do mean the Jewish oral tradition, I'd like to say something about oral tradition in general, because I think there is a broader concept here, and that is that if you look at the Industrial Revolution, which is one of my favorite times in history, you see what happened was that somebody came up with an idea, and then somebody built on that idea, and then the next person built on that idea, and you end up sort of 200 years later with an iPhone. Now no human being could come up with an iPhone themselves. There's a development, and it's something that we human beings have above animals. A beaver builds a dam, and the next generation of beavers build the same dam, and the next generation build the same dam. They don't improve. They don't take what they've learned and build and develop that. And to me, an oral tradition is so fundamental for that. It's the fact that we human beings, it's a trust that we human beings know something, that we learn. And as we learn, we pass that on, and it gives future generations a chance to build further and to grow and to develop. And wisdom grows and develops through an oral tradition. There's no question that we are filled with wisdom, every single one of us. However, there is more wisdom available to us if we take from each other and learn from each other and learn from previous generations as well. We start on a higher foundation. We start higher up the ladder. And so whilst the wisdom that's available to me is very meaningful, if I start higher up the ladder, I'll do that much more with it. And that to me is the value and the power of an oral tradition in terms of attaining greater and deeper levels of wisdom.